Much disappointing against Bradford Bulls on Sunday. 19,000 here for that. They have suffered because they have lost that game, but they are still, by the looks of things, on course to hit their average for the season, which is something in the region of 11 or 12,000. This is the Halifax dressing room, and so often the Halifax team have come here to Headingley and have put up a real show, but have gone home with their tails well and truly between their legs. They really need a bit of pressure to be applied, as do the Leeds team. Leeds disappointing on Sunday, particularly in the second half. But you see what a match against Leeds means to their local rivals in a huddle, psyching each other up for the battle to come. And what a battle it promises to be. Waiting for the knock on the door, and out they come, this Halifax team. John Schuster, they'll be glad to see him back in the side. And Carl Harrison, the captain of the Blue Sox, returning to the side and coming out here at Headingley leading his men. These two have almost identical scoring records. Those 66 tries for Halifax is 3 more than Leeds. But they must improve defensively to have any chance here. They've suffered a bit of a goal-kicking problem, and it remains to be seen whether John Schuster picks up the challenge again. But they'll be happy to have Carl Harrison back in their side. Leeds waiting in their dressing room, one of the most palatial in the game. And Gary Mercer, their captain, leads them out to a typical Headingley welcome. It's been a major turnaround this year. Third bottom in 1996. At the moment, they're 4th top, and with a chance of going even further up the table here if they win tonight. Led out by Ronnie the Rhino and Gary Mercer and the mascot to the now customary firework welcome. They come onto the field here with quite a bang these days. They have a swashbuckling style of play that brings its rewards. Witness Gary Mercer's try on Sunday. Leeds have easily the best defence of these two, though only against Warrington in their last 5 games have they conceded less than 30 points. And Gary Mercer is their captain, who goes forward most for them. There he is, the New Zealand international. 21 times he has played for his country. A marvellous try against Bradford Bulls on Sunday. His only previous try was against Halifax in April, so the Blue Sox had better watch out. Mike Umanga, the fullback, former Western Samoan rugby union star. A try in both games against Leeds last year. 5 tries against Workington last year. It equalled the Super League try-scoring record with Jason Robinson and now Tony Smith. And Iestyn Harris, who was a little quiet, the Welsh international, in the game against Bradford on Sunday. And it'll be interesting to see whether he can tag on some attacking kicks and some attacking prowess to the goals that he slots over for this Leeds team. Steve Presley is the match referee. He checks with his touch judges, checks the watches, makes sure that Ronnie is off the field and that the timekeepers are ready with their stopwatches as well. We're just about ready then. And it's Leeds Rhinos against Halifax Blue Sox. Iestyn Harris gets this game underway. And underneath it, the fullback, Umanga, who gives it to Carl Harrison, who takes the first tackle of this game. Good driving run from Dio Powell. He lost the ball though, and it's a knock-on. Dio Powell appealing that it was stripped from him in the tackle.
Well, you could see that it was Collins' swinging arm that knocked the ball around, but it was 1 on, so that was play on. Did it go back? And that's the reason why Powell was shouting at the referee, Steve Presley. Obviously, Presley didn't see that.
This now is Gary Mercer taking it to the 20-metre line on the first tackle. Harris, and he spreads it wide to Andy Hay, who goes through one, and that's good tackling from Simon Baldwin. And over the top came Carl Harrison. Could easily have been penalised there for the flop. Referee says play on. It's with Sheridan, and now this is Jamie Matthew, the prop forward. 3 tackles gone. They're 10 metres short of the line. Harris tips the ball back to Barry McDermott. McDermott with another typical driving run. Collins scampers into dummy half. He finds his captain, Mercer. Good defence, though, on that occasion from Paul Heighton. Collins again to Harris, and then further wide to Sheridan, who slides the kick through, inviting the run from Cummings, and Umanga is there to just hack the ball dead.
Neat little kick through by Ryan Sheridan. He could see that Mike Umanga was in a wrong position, and Umanga just about got the left leg there. Good thinking. Cummings was well and truly racing towards him there. Well, you mentioned before the kick-off there that the standoff, Euston Harris, and I'm sure that the Dean Bell, the Leeds coach, would have said to Harris, take the defence on a little bit more than what they did against Bradford.
This now is Damien Gibson, the fullback, who disappears under the challenge from Michael Jackson and Baldwin. This now is Harris, lovely little dummy, but Baldwin equal to the task, along with Heighton and Carl Harrison. Sheridan looking for the runner, who is Hassan, who escapes the clutches of one. Harrison is there, though, manages to bring him down. Collins in quickly at dummy half. Here's Harris. Farrell is out wide. Farrell on the charge, met by the chest of Umanga, with the fullback standing up to the tackle well. Collins then to Harris. Harris slides the kick through again. It bounces off a Halifax Blue Sox player, but the referee has got them again for a knock-on.
Well, it was a nice player's kick, and it came off, I think it was a hooker Seal, was it? No, yeah, Danny Seal kept onto it. Now, did his arm touch? Yeah, well, the whitewash came over, but just seen by the touch judge there.
So Leeds head and feet at the scrum. All the pressure from Leeds then. This is the third set of 6 that Halifax have had to weather in the opening 3 minutes.
Well, that's the second time that Harris has taken on the defence.
Mercer now applies the brakes. Goes down under the tackle. Seal in there. Heighton in there too. Harris, Sheridan. They've loaded out wide. The dummy runners were there. Hay, but he slips. It's been raining pretty heavily here in Leeds all afternoon. This pitch is bound to be a little bit slippy on top. Sheridan takes the tackle, 8 metres from the line. Collins going down the narrow side, and he gets it away to Sterling, who scores.
I think he took the corner flag with him, though. I think the flag went, the corner post went before he got the ball down. Surely he'll go for this.
Yes, he's going to hand this on to the video ref, and it's a question, according to Steve Presley, of whether he hit the corner flag before he got the ball down.
Good work by Collins to send the ball out wide. Now watch the right foot. Ooh, it's hard to decide. He doesn't touch it there, and his leg is still suspended. I reckon that's a try.
I think it is. I think it's the Halifax defender who caught the corner flag.
It was a defender that took the flag out, but did the right leg touch the whitewash? You need the slide rule on this one. Oh, did the stud touch it? Let's hope he's got short studs on. The winger, Paul Sterling, but it was tremendous effort by the hooker, Wayne Collins. And I think it's the Halifax defender that's actually taken the corner post out. Different angle. This is very difficult. Powell gets to him low. I think you'll find it's Powell that takes the flag. No doubt about getting the ball down, or the right arm touching the whitewash in goal. That's okay, but did the stud of the winger, Paul Sterling, and that's about the only thing you could say touch the whitewash.
Here's the decision. It did. A stud did touch the whitewash. To be fair, Leeds had lined up for a restart on the 20-metre line, and so had Halifax, so Leeds had almost conceded that out on the field. They decided, having looked at the slow-motion replays with us and with the video ref, that it would be no try. Well, that's, as you say, Steve-O, slide rule time.
Full credit, though, to the touch judge. He was adamant that the referee, Steve Presley, should go to the screen on that one. It was touch and go. And he says, you better have a look at that. And as it turned out, Halifax breathed a sigh of relief, but they could only have been centimetres in it.
So Halifax now with the ball in their hand for the first time. Danny Seal is the dummy half. He gets it to Martin Pearson, who hammers the ball downfield. Now there are at least 2 or 3 or maybe 4 Halifax players who were way downtown then when that kick came in. They were at least 30 metres ahead of the kicker.
They're supposed to give him the 10 metres. It was a good kick and chase, though, as the rain has started to pour down again up in the north of England.
And not just in the north, Steve. Where has the summer of 1997 gone to? For goodness sake.
Just around the corner.
I hope so. Here's Mercer. He gets it out wide to Cummins. He cuts infield, but Powell does well again. Good defence from Dial Powell. Powell wearing 15. He had an ill-fated time in Australia with the Perth Reds. Good to see Michael Jackson, number 21, also back to fitness, but he couldn't do anything there to stop the run from Harris. That's a great run from Harris. He's got support from Cummins. And Cummins is cut down by Mike Umanga again.
That's better from the standoff, Harris.
This is him again. Ball to McDermott. And that's on the last. They ran it on the power play, Leeds, with McDermott. It's the turnover.
Good passage of play, though, by Leeds. Well, we mentioned before the kick-off that the coach, Dean Bell, obviously has said to Houston Harris, take them on, just don't be the ball handler like you were against Bradford on Sunday. And that's the 3rd occasion that he's taken on that defence. It was a beautiful sidestepping run. More of that, please, I'm sure, will be coming from the talented Houston Harris.
Baldwin felt that tackle from Mercer, looked for the penalty, none forthcoming. That's the hooker Danny Seal who gets to his feet. Baldwin in quickly at dummy half. And that was Heighton who was tackled, and the kick downfield from Pearson. But easy that for Damien Gibson. The Leeds full-back now will run it out. Schuster was there quickly to bring him down, and also there was Chris Chester.
Well, not the best kick from Pearson, but at least the chase was good.
Well,
Sterling, great play by the winger.
He was denied by the video referee, a man, of course, who scored 9 tries in consecutive matches to equal the Super League record before Sunday. Denied by the video referee here tonight, denied by the Bradford defence on Sunday. Hay taking it over the halfway line now for the Rhinos. Quick play the ball. It was Gibson at dummy half, Sheridan to McDermott, then to Marvin Golden. Golden making his first senior appearance of the season.
Good play, good strong run, and a bit of a high tackle coming in into the face of the winger Marvin Golden.
Referee allowed Leeds the advantage, Steve-O, but none forthcoming.
The prop forward, Carl Harrison, the big left arm coming out on the head of Golden.
Another big prop forward. Barry McDermott is down and injured, and he's been down for quite some time. This would be a blow, and they are calling for a stretcher for Barry McDermott, who looks like he's in some real pain here. He went down a few moments ago and failed to regather his feet and has been clutching the lower part of his leg ever since he went down. Here's the run.
I think he gets dragged. Oh yeah, you could see the right ankle twist underneath. See the right ankle there, just twist underneath the tackler. And it's a bad one. When the entire body weight goes on, you see it just goes underneath the thigh there. Well, that's a bad sight. He's been one of their major players this season, Barry McDermott.
He has, and they're strapping the legs together, which is always wise in terms of precaution, but isn't a terribly good sight for the player concerned. And McDermott is about to be gingerly lifted onto this stretcher.
It's very ominous as that, but you could see on the replay how the right leg just buckled in underneath. It's a sad way to finish.
It is. It looks as though he's not got much chance of coming back into this match. Barry McDermott, a try against the Bulls on Sunday. He scored 4 tries in the last 3 in Super League. And an England international and an Irish international.
Well, I can tell you from years of experience that when a person is severely injured, they don't move. There's very little movement whatsoever, due to the fact that A, it's quite painful, and they realize that any further movement may give further injury to the bone or the ligaments. Well, let's hope it's nothing broken.
Sympathetic round of applause for the big prop forward from the Headingley crowd. Great favourite here at Headingley, there's no doubt about that. He started the last 7. Barry McDermott, Great Britain international, as well as those caps for England and Ireland. And McDermott, unfortunately, leaving the field on the stretcher. So Jamie Field is the man who will come on and replace him. Academy international, his first appearance since the London defeat in April. Long stoppage then. And remember, it was all held up because of the high tackle by Carl Harrison. A penalty to Leeds, that's why there was the penalty. It was nothing to do with the injury to Barry McDermott. And so Iestyn Harris has his first opportunity now for a shot at goal.
Be interesting to see where they fit in the substitute. Jamie Field is quite a solid guy, but they may move Anthony Farrell from the second row into the prop forward position. Of course, Barry McDermott, the blindside prop in the scrum.
Harris with the penalty and kicks the goal. Iestyn Harris, the Welsh international standoff half, now of Leeds, once of Warrington. Leeds ahead by 2 points to 0. And talking of Welsh internationals, I was on the telephone this morning to Jonathan Davis. Jonathan, as many of you know, is still coming to terms with the very sad loss of his wife Karen last week after a long fight against illness. Well, Jonathan, who is watching tonight at home, I know, asks me to pass on his sincere thanks for the hundreds of cards, letters, messages of sympathy and donations he's received from his friends in rugby league. He apologises for the fact that he won't be able to reply to all of them personally, but he knows that your thoughts have been with him at this very sad time of his life. And of course, it goes without saying that all of us here on Sky Sports send our deepest condolences as well. Leeds 2, Halifax 0, 9.5 minutes gone here at Headingley. And Halifax making a fair old fist of it. Paul Heighton. You were always expecting Halifax to have a go against Leeds, Steve-O, because when any of these sides play against Leeds, there's no love lost, is there?
That is for sure. They're all rivals, and it was quite interesting there to see that the Leeds defence was pretty solid, but quite a few of them just going a little bit too high. It always is a problem because the way the full-time fitness of these professionals, the upper body strength is certainly superior now than what it used to be. So you've got to have someone going low on the legs. See, there you go, you're going too high.
It's Mercer with this one. He's got support inside him from Cummins. He delayed the pass faithfully. Umanga was able to come across and cut him down. This now is Harris again. He pops the ball into the arms of Hassan. It wasn't the best pass, and Schuster was able to shoot out of the line and pull Hassan down. Now Anthony Farrell.
Well, they may have bombed it there. Gary Mercer should have passed that ball earlier when he had the opportunity. Mike Umanga, the full-back, went with him all the way and finally caught up with him.
Harris manages to get the pass away. Jamie Field, the substitute, just on. Tackled by Heighton and the hooker, Danny Seal. This is Anthony Farrell. Good high kick. Hanging, Umanga underneath it. And he caught it in the field of play and landed in the in goal. So the referee has ruled it's a goal line dropout. Good play by the fullback, Mike Umanga. Pretty solid character, as you can see.
Well, a bit of a mistake there by Leeds. They really didn't find the real kicker, which should have been Sheridan or Harris. It came to the second rower, Anthony Farrell, eventually. As it turned out, it was a damn fine effort by the second rower.
2-0 here at Headingley then, 11.5 minutes gone, and just look at that after 20 minutes at Odsal. Bradford 0, Castleford 6, top against bottom, bottom winning out. Salford are beating Paris at half-time at the Charlotte 10-6, and the champions ahead at Sheffield 4-0 after a quarter of an hour. Keeping you up to date with everything that's happening in Super League this evening.
Well, a bad mistake by the substitute Jamie Field, took his eyes off the football. It's quite wet out there though. It's difficult for the long passing game. So therefore the short kicking game should come to the fore.
Umanga almost through. And Gary Mercer just held on to his shirt and hauled him down. That's good tackling from this Leeds defence. Chester now. Martin Pearson organising the Halifax attack just out of your screen as Chester gets to his feet. There is Pearson. Now Schuster.
Down on his back is Chester. It does not look well at all. So Halifax down to 12 men. Oh, good effort there.
Tremendous harrying defence by Harris put Pearson under all sorts of trouble. The referee now penalises Halifax. They were all offside. Wasn't the greatest kick from Pearson because of the attentions from Iestyn Harris, but as you can see, everyone all offside there. They've got to give the man in possession 10 metres grace.
Pretty difficult to start going backwards an extra 5. As soon as they made a grab at it, there was no doubt in the mind of referee Steve Presley. Well, that's a sad sign. Another one looks to be going off. Chris Chester looks in bad shape.
This looks like he got a twisted ankle, doesn't it?
And there again, the same injury that we saw the big prop forward Barry McDermott received. That's the reason why he went off.
Well, Chris Chester goes off, and that means that there's an early chance here for Craig Dean, the amateur international, the 1996 tourist, on the academy tour, to come on. And they're lucky that Craig Dean is a recognised scrum half, so it's 1 for 1 there as Chester limps his way to the bench. 13 minutes gone, Leeds just ahead, 2-0. Field with this run, the man on for the injured Barry McDermott. Collins in a dummy half. Leeds want to get on with it. Sheridan now wearing a scrum cap. Good defence though. Dean Bell, the Leeds coach, anxious for his side to get back to winning ways. Harris, good ball to Hay. Good tackling by Heighton.
Tremendous stuff by the second rower Heighton. And it needed to be. Leeds are starting to run the angles and bring people back on the inside.
It's a real rear guard action at the moment for Halifax as Harris takes them on now. The ball comes out and it was a knock on. It wasn't stolen.
Trying to keep the ball alive.
Oh, well,
I'm not so sure on that replay. Looks to be a hand in there. You could see actually that Harris was trying to turn to offload the football. Obviously what's been seen by Steve Presley. Such an important player in Leeds' success, Iestyn Harris. If he fires, he can guarantee the rest of the 3 quarters are running hot.
This is Ferretti to Elangi. 50th Halifax appearance and a late try against Paris.
Halifax finding it very difficult to get through this Leeds defence, which is moving up exceptionally quickly. And they're forcing Halifax into a one-out situation.
John Pendlebury, their coach. Quietly spoken, but a fierce professional, John Pendlebury, for all of that. Had the best years of his life, arguably, here with Halifax. Wants to bring back the glory days to Thrum Hall. The kick downfield, and Gibson, the Leeds fullback, picks up 10 metres from his own line.
Much better kick there by Pearson, turning the fullback Gibson around. Always gives you that extra few yards to get your chasing team up there. As you can see, that's a second tackle. Mercer.
Wanted Marshall, the prop forward, in there and bringing him down. This now is Matthew, who unloads well and finds Sheridan, but again, scrambling defence from Danny Seal brings Sheridan down on the halfway line. Harris to Field. Well, so far, Halifax defence is standing solid, but for how long? Because it's Leeds who are asking all the questions, but that's not the best kick. And that's David Bouveng out there, the Australian.
Good positioning there by the winger. Bouveng anticipated the kick, but you can see how quick this Leeds defence is. They're coming out wide, and I'm afraid Halifax have to change their tactics somewhat.
61% of the football with Leeds. They're enjoying the better of the possession, but only the Yestin Harris penalty goal to show for it so far. That's Paul Heighton, tackled downstairs by Sheridan, and Andy Hay was the man coming in over the top. And some dreadful news of Barry McDermott. It's a suspected broken leg, and he's on his way to hospital. That's awful news for McDermott and Leeds. Now Harrison unloads well. He gets the ball away to Little Dean, and Dean's off on a great run. Ball back on the inside to Baldwin. Sheridan with the tackle, and the tackle was so fierce, the ball shot out. This now is Gibson. Well, that's a chance gone for Halifax.
Well, a beautiful break by Dean there. You could see he was trying to twist into it, and it was Jamie Matthew that got to him and just knocked the ball out. But the little substitute Dean, he scampered away. He just couldn't hold on to it.
Well, Craig Dean, 10 tries for Halifax in 1996. He's a bit of a bogeyman for Leeds. I'll tell you, 7 tries in his last 4 games against the Rhinos for the Halifax sub. And he nearly created one there.
Well, he certainly injected a lot more spark into the Halifax attack.
Kick over the top from Harris to nobody. No one following it up. So Tuilangi is able to pick up just a few metres from his own line. Eventually the chasers arrive, and Harris got a bang on the head then. Clash of heads, accidental. Here's Umanga. Bang over the eyebrow maybe for Yestin Harris by the looks. He's being checked out by the Leeds physio. Used to be he's okay. Now Harrison up the middle. No one more disappointed and upset really by the Halifax showing in Australia in the World Club Championship than their club captain, Carl Harrison.
Good work by the hooker there, Danny Seal, who's doing a lot of work in defence. At least they're changing their attack, running from the dummy half.
Good take from Damien Gibson, but a good chase also by Baldwin and Pearson. And that really, Steve-O, is the one aspect of their play that the Halifax coach Pendlebury will be happy with, their defence.
Well, they're moving up quickly. The kick is only as good as the chase, and you can see that Martin Pearson followed through onto the kick very quickly.
But particularly in view of the fact that in Australia they conceded 204 points and 38 tries in the World Club Championship. That appears to be an area where John Pendlebury has tightened things since they returned from down under. But for how long can they stand this sort of pressure as Sheridan again attacks them and is grounded on halfway? Matthew at dummy half. Harris, Hay. Tackled a bit high by Pearson, and the referee will pull him for that.
Swinging arm over the top of the shoulders. Not what you could call malicious, more of a grab from the standoff Martin Pearson. With the big second rower, Andy Hay. And the little fella had to jump at that to get over the top of the shoulder.
Quick tap penalty from Yestin Harris. Noticed that Halifax had their backs turned, and he's launched an attack here with Cummins. Good tackling back though. Again, the Halifax defence stands firm, but you have to wonder for how long with all this pressure. Good tackling there from Marshall.
Well, they really caught Halifax napping then. You never turn your back to the football. You've always got to keep your eyes on it. Look at this. They anticipated the kick into the corner, and Harris took full advantage.
Harris again now, clattered to the ground. Harrison up top, and Paul Heighton downstairs. Here now is Sheridan to Andy Hay.
That was a bit forward, I suspect.
Not in the view of the referee. It's play on as Sheridan gives it then to Matthew. Out wide is Francis Cummins. They have a man on the overlap. Boubeng after him though. Good tackle from Boubeng on Cummins.
It had to be as well. He had the room out wide.
They've got the room now out wide. This is Cummins again. Cummins trying to muscle his way to the line on the last tackle on the power play. It's the turnover. Again, this Halifax defence stands firm as a rock.
Good scrambling defence there. It was Powell that came to the rescue. The big centre, Diao Powell, he really did put his shoulder into that. He felt it as well. Sucking in the oxygen.
Here's John Schuster. Halifax will be delighted to see him back. John Pendlebury has got two excellent goal kickers in his team now, Pearson and Schuster.
Well, I think Halifax will be quite happy, especially their coach Pendlebury, by the fact that they've sucked Leeds into playing a forward game, when really Leeds would be better served to start throwing the ball out a little bit quicker from the dummy half position and get their speedsters working.
This is Marvin Golden. Wants to impress his coach Dean Bell tonight and take his chance on this, his first senior outing of the year. Now Jamie Field. Jamie Field, one of the forwards in reserve grade at Headingley, with Barry McDermott on his way to hospital with that suspected broken leg, might be looking for an extended run in this team.
Bit of a swinging arm there, just over the top of Justin Harris. But Halifax play a very tight sliding defence, so maybe the kick into the corner for the winger, or the long ball missing two, maybe three players out, does work at times.
Harris trying to jink his way through. Strong challenge on Harris again. Nice tackle for Leeds. Sheridan, little kick over the top. He saw that Umanga had moved across to the left-hand side, tried to clip it towards the post, and Sheridan leading the chase on his own kick.
Good work by the little half-back, and also well picked up by Mike Umanga. Just a little bit too long, perhaps, but the idea was there. And that's a sort of tactic that you need when both these defences are pretty solid at the moment, especially on a slippy surface. Perhaps you'd be better served with keeping the ball low rather than just popping it over the top.
Some more later scores coming in, and it's still 6-0 to Castleford at Odsal after half an hour. 10-all now at the Charlotte into the second half, and Sheffield 2, St Helens 8 after 25 minutes of the first half at Don Valley. 2-0 here at Headingley. 23 minutes gone. Halifax have weathered the storm. Pearson with the kick, trying to dissect Gibson and Sterling. Gibson, the man who comes up with it.
Again, we see the effort there from Pearson, and the hooker, Danny Seal. Well, if ever a guy's working overtime in the defensive department, his tackling tonight has been superb.
Only in the side because of an injury to Paul Rowley. Hassan struggles to his feet. Golden was the man in the dummy half position, and Golden taking on Carl Harrison. He drops the ball. Harrison has it back, and Harrison now has lost it as well, but the referee will play the first knock on against Golden.
Big impact there. Harrison and again Seal making his presence felt. Well, it has been a problem for both these sides, the defensive qualities, and it was a one-on-one when Harrison made contact with Golden. It was a big hit onto the football.
Marvin Golden, just 20 years old, an Academy International. Carl Harrison, one of the seasoned campaigners in this Halifax team. Tuilangi, though, wrestled to the ground by Golden. That's good defence from the young winger. Schuster in at dummy half.
Well, he wasn't going to be intimidated, was he? Even though he'd lost the football, he certainly was going to get his defensive quality right, Marvin Golden.
Paul Heighton driving the ball up the middle for Halifax. Halifax starting to grow in a little bit of confidence now in attacking mode. Pearson to Michael Jackson. Good defence from Francis Cummins, though.
Spotted it well, didn't he, the big centre. Cummins realised they were using the dummy runner, Halifax.
Here's Baldwin.
Picked out the big second rower, Jackson. But as you say, Halifax, one of the rare occasions that they've been able to apply the pressure to Leeds in their own quarter.
High kick from Dean is easily picked up by Gibson, who makes it to the 10-metre line before Baldwin clatters him. Now Sterling. Releases the pass. Harris. Well, the scrambling defence is standing firm for Halifax, but now they've conceded the penalty, messing around as Harris tried to regather his feet.
Well, he's taken it from the wrong spot. He wants it taken again. You can see that the skipper from Halifax, Carl Harrison, interfering at the play of the ball. Justin Harris wanted to get on with it. Referee Presley would have none of it. Said, "You'll take it when I tell you." Holding down. Good signal from the official. Well, Eddie, I just get the feeling that Leeds have to change their tactics now. They're still trying to use the battering ram aspect of this game, and it's just playing into the hands of Halifax.
Well, remember, this Halifax team is the last in Super League to beat Bradford Bulls last August. They need to rediscover the winning habit quickly, but they are hanging on here against this Leeds side. They're making it very difficult for the men from Headingley. This is Farrell, who just bounces away the hooker, Danny Seal, but he can't get away from Michael Jackson. Collins at dummy half. Harris now saw a little gap, went for it, but again the scrambling defence from Halifax keeps him out. Last one here for Leeds. And the kick from Sheridan, cross field, looking for Hassan, but Tuilangi claimed that quite easily.
Well, you thought it was on an afternoon stroll there, even though it was well attended. Tremendous take by Tuilangi.
Richard Marshall, wrestle to the ground.
Well, it's a good old-fashioned battle, isn't it, between the sets of forwards. And as we mentioned, it's pretty slippery conditions out there. Perhaps not the ideal conditions to keep the ball alive, but I get the feeling that which side wants to try to be the more adventurous will come away with the spoils.
You might have noticed that Martin Moana has come onto the field. He is wearing number 13, and he is a man who destroyed Leeds with 2 tries in the win in April. He's their leading scorer in all competitions this year with 9 tries, 8 of them coming in Super League. Watch out for Moana, he's a dangerous customer. Number 13 on his back. Might be needed here in the defensive duties against Sterling, who picks up pace.
Well, Pearson wouldn't like that. It was right down the throat of the winger, Paul Sterling. Not the ideal situation.
Lovely run from Gibson up to the halfway line for Leeds. Collins at dummy half. Mercer trying to inject some pace. There's no one out there. Mercer's all on his own. Apart from those 3, that is. Sheridan again. Harris. Gibson. Andy Hay.
Well, you can see that the 3-quarter line and Hay, who was running out wide, they're not running onto the football. They're making themselves play very flat football at the moment to Leeds.
Strong run from Golden, though. And he straightens it up now. He's 30 metres from the line. And this now is Harris. Mercer.
Offside.
Offside against Golden. Mercer was juggling with it and flicked the ball, but Golden was standing in an offside position, standing in front of the man.
Well, trying to work something there and bringing the ball back on the inside was Harris. And you can see that Mercer just got it all wrong. Came a little bit too late onto it. Well, a bad mistake. They've had the half chances of Leeds.
And so of Halifax, by the way. Remember that one that Baldwin put down earlier in this first half.
Yeah, it was a great break from the substitute, Craig Dean.
Now Harrison. 10 metres inside the Leeds half, on the 3rd tackle. Here's Dean again. Danger man. Out wide it goes. And that's Dio Powell. Managed to get the ball away. Good charging run from Dean again. Quick play the ball here, and they could be in trouble, Leeds. That ball has bounced. Golden just managed to get a knee to it, and Golden knocks the ball dead.
Well, a nice option there, and you could see that Marvin Golden knew that Tuilangi was right behind him. Well, they are building in confidence, Halifax. They're getting the right options. And I'm afraid that since the introduction of Craig Dean, Leeds are in a little bit of trouble. They can't seem to close him down.
Goal line drop out to halfway, fielded by Umanga, who will run it straight back at them. Good run too. He makes 23 metres before they eventually collar him. Hay and Collins. This now is Moana. Classy player, Martin Moana. And Halifax inching their way to the line with Seal.
Great run from the hooker there. They could see that Leeds didn't have a second marker.
Moana gets the pass away, but Marshall was immediately clobbered by Gary Mercer. 4 tackles gone. Now Michael Jackson. Getting so close to the line, Jackson just held up. Farrell was in there quickly. And they want to get on with it quickly, Halifax, but they won't get up quite quick enough. Here now is Pearson. Ball back on the inside, and they keep it going. Dean to Umanga. Umanga then to Harrison. They've got a man out wide on the overlap. They must score, and Dio Powell scores for Halifax. Well, Leeds were stretched out wide, and Halifax, they ended up with 3 men coming at the one defender who had no chance, and Dio Powell gets the try. Halifax hit the front.
If you're adventurous, you often get the reward, and Dean again sets it up. Pearson back on the inside. They kept it alive. It was Hyden to pull it through. Umanga came in through, Harrison out wide. And it was a beautiful serve out there. Moana slips it to Dave Powell. What excellent free-flowing football. See how they came back on the inside. Hyden. Dean, who's having a stormer since he came in. Beautiful play by Moana, and Powell eagerly accepts the 4. They deserve that. That was great build-up. Well, what a game Dean is having since his introduction midway through this first half. You'll see how Umanga sucks in Mercer. Harrison sucked it through, and look how Moana just throws Sterling. There's nothing they can do about that. Dio Powell. That's a great try.
Welsh international Dio Powell is 3rd in Super League 1997. And John Schuster now, just a 50% success rate. He had a kick from the touchline on Sunday to level the scores for Halifax. This time he has got the mark, and he knows where the posts are at Headingley, and Halifax lead by 6 points to 2. And John Pendlebury gets a slap on the back and a little smile.
Look at how all the defence has been sucked in there. There's only 2 out wide, and once the long ball from Umanga. Harrison, it's just a matter of who's going to score. Powell had someone else outside. Bouveng it was, but he didn't need him.
So Leeds, having had much of the possession, are behind by 6 points to 2. 54% to Halifax's 46, and Halifax have really only just come back into the match in the last 5 or 10 minutes, but they're all offside now, just too eager.
Just a little bit too there. You could see that referee Steve Presley,
he was keeping a fairly shallow 10 as well, wasn't he?
Well, he wasn't back. He was at the play of the ball. It's always a bit of a problem for a referee who moves in very quickly to see that there's nothing untoward going on in the tackle. And Halifax were quite happy to try to cheat, but they've given away valuable ground now.
They have. It's Leeds who are on the attack now with Harris. And he misses out 2 and finds Hassan. Hassan, strong man, but pulled down by Schuster. Golden to Mercer, his captain. 5-1 Leeds in terms of penalties, but trailing 6-2 on the scoreboard. Mercer gets to his feet. Collins is the dummy half. Harris now. Sheridan. Cummins. But again, unable to break through this resolute Halifax defence. And Cummins is injured.
Surely they'll use the kick into the corner.
Harris just dabs the ball through. Umanga is there, read the script perfectly.
Well, that was a nothing kick there, I'm afraid, from the standoff Justin Harris. It was an absolute gift for the big fullback Mike Umanga, who, as Eddie mentioned, was in tremendous position. And there you see on the ground, I think it's Mercer receiving treatment. So Leeds down to 12, and more trouble for the Rhinos.
In the last 5 minutes before half-time, this is Tuilangi, who, when he gets up ahead of steam, is very difficult to pull down. It's Francis Cummins who is needing treatment, and he now is being helped from the field. So Leeds have had their injury problems in this first half. Cummins being helped from the field of play, and they have made a change. Holroyd has come on for Francis Cummins. Last tackle here for Halifax.
That could prove a pretty positive move for Leeds, because I'm afraid they're having no one out there who's creating anything for them.
Well, here's Holroyd's first touch.
And to be fair, Graham Holroyd has the experience and also a little bit of magical touch that they need at the moment, because this Halifax side really are on fire.
Collins at dummy half, taking them on himself, the Leeds hooker. Well, Halifax at the moment on course for back-to-back wins at Headingley for the first time since the 50s, even though they've just conceded a penalty.
Richard Marshall, the prop forward, interfering. Now then, what can Leeds do? At least they're standing deep.
This is Jamie Field. That's the 20-metre line on which he plays the ball to Collins. And now Harris. Here's Holroyd. Back to Harris. Gaps opened up. Hay has shot through it. He's got support from Sheridan. And Sheridan is just ankle-tapped and loses the ball.
What a great tackle from Mike Yamanga. Not only does he do the tackle, Sheridan loses possession, and the full-back comes up with the football. Well, that was better. There's got to be a penalty. More than one in attendance.
Yes, well, Michael Jackson, the man who was tackled by more than one, and they stripped the ball. Penalty to Halifax. That relieves the pressure.
You can see Hay and Mercer thumping the ball out of the possession of Jackson. But look at this tackle from Yamanga. That was try time. Not only did he save the try, he came up with possession. Well, he's having a fine game as a full-back, Mike Yamanga. But it just shows you, Eddie, that if Leeds do get the ball out wide, you could see that the gap does appear. But it's only about the third occasion that they've tried it.
2.5 minutes to go to half-time. Halifax hanging on to this 4-point advantage, taking the ball up again to the Leeds half with Paul Heighton, a big second row forward.
Well, to be fair, this Halifax side's had little to cheer about over the past 3 or 4 weeks.
Jamie Field has wheeled away from that tackle, clutching his arm. He's got problems now. Harrison trundles the ball up again for Halifax.
Surely it'll be the high ball. Keep your eye out on Dean or Martin Pearson, perhaps.
This is Schuster. Drop goal attempt from Schuster, but it never got off the ground. Holroyd. Oh, he touches it and makes a right mess. Couldn't get his feet in order and made a right mess.
Deary me. It was bad enough, the attempt from Schuster, and this is just sad. Well, I said it may be the turning point for Leeds to inject a little bit more enthusiasm, a little bit more skill, but I think Graham Holroyd will not want to see a replay of that.
Bradford fighting back against Castleford, but it's 4 points to 6 at half-time. They still trail. Salford just hanging on against Paris midway through the second half, and St Helens leading Sheffield at half-time, also 8 points to 2. Not too many points around the game tonight.
Well, there could be some upsets on the cards, and I'm sure that Halifax will be quite happy as their coach John Pendlebury will be getting them in at half-time, lifting their confidence.
They've loaded down the left-hand side again. This is Schuster. He loses the ball, but the referee said it was stolen. And he's calling Gary Mercer to him.
I think the Leeds skipper has had quite a few words to say, and I think this will be the last warning. And I think Mr. Presley will say to the Leeds skipper, if I see any more of this, the little yellow card will be coming out of my pocket. And you can always tell when a player never looks the referee in the eye that he was in the wrong.
Well, he has been told by referee Steve Presley that the next man who pinches the ball in a more than one-on-one tackle will be spending 10 minutes in the sin bin for persistent ball stealing.
And rightly so.
So Leeds have been warned. Meanwhile, Schuster, who kicked one from the touchline to give us the 6-2 situation after the Powell try, now has this to give Halifax a 6-point lead at half-time. It won't please coach Dean Bell.
He'll have plenty to say at lemons or oranges or a cup of tea. I think that's what they have these days.
Deep into stoppage time, first half. Schuster with the kick, hits the post. Farrell, oh, he's given the ball away, Farrell. The referee would have played first knock on had the half-time siren not sounded. That's the way it stands at half-time then. Leeds 2, Halifax 6. And just the one try to show, and Halifax captain Carl Harrison has returned and has really shorn up this defence. But Mike Umanga has played a major role in the way Halifax have played in this first half. Some tremendous tackling from him in defence. But the one try we've had has come courtesy of Umanga's pass to Harrison, out then to Moana, and Dio Powell with the try. It's 6 points to 2 to Halifax. Halifax, the Blue Sox, will play from right to left as we watch in the second 40 minutes. They're going to get this game back underway. Umanga with the kick-off. Harris traps it, catches it, gives it then to Anthony Farrell, who'll have the first run. And he bounces away from one tackle. Can't get away from the next man in, though.
It was a big hit from the prop forward Richard Marshall and the hooker Danny Seal. They mean business this second half. They really have been wound up in that half-time break by their coach John Pendlebury. They mean business to the Blue Sox.
Wayne Collins appealing to the referee that should have been a penalty because Matthew wasn't being allowed to get to his feet, and certainly Steve Halifax have been well, they've been treading a fine line, haven't they, between legal challenges and illegal. There's an illegal one. Two-man tackle, stolen the ball.
Well, silly play there, really. Reefing the ball out when you know there's someone in with you. It's Harrison, the captain. It's not the best thing for the captain to do. Surely he realised that Marshall, the prop forward, was also in attendance. You can see quite clearly. I know it's been a ploy that perhaps they got away with it a couple of times, but look at the ground that they've given away now. The last thing they wanted to do was to give Leeds a chance to launch an attack. That's
what they're doing here. The second minute of this second half. Another test then on the way of this Halifax rearguard action. Harris, out wide it goes to Holroyd. And little Craig Dean just stood his ground and allowed Holroyd to run over the top of him before he pulled off the tackle. Now this is Mercer. And Dean again working hard from the marker position with a bit of help from Tuilangi. Holroyd to Harris. Harris then on to Sheridan. Sheridan looks for Gibson and finds him. Gibson cuts in field, but once again Moana coming in to help out the harassed Halifax defence. Sterling dabs the ball through, and Umanga again. He stood like a rock, hasn't he?
Just dropped it to the winger, Sterling. Not the best pass, but on the last tackle they opted to go for the power play. Well, you're right, Eddie. He did get a foot to it. I thought he just dropped it. But not the best thing to do, really. They should have had their kicker get Holroyd there, or Sheridan, to punch the ball into the in-goal area.
Heighton will try and drive the ball out of the danger zone. 22 metres away from his own line. Here's Craig Dean again. Gets the ball away to Moana. Under pressure from Matthew and Collins. Seal was the dummy half. Pearson punts the ball downfield, looking for the touchline on this near side. It's a great kick, that. What a kick to relieve the pressure from Martin Pearson.
Tremendous stuff there. He dissected the winger Paul Sterling and Graham Holroyd playing fullback. Tremendous experience, Pearson.
And he's always seemed to kick well here at Headingley. People remember a last-minute goal from the touchline for an 18-6 win in his 18-16 win rather in his Featherstone days in 1990. He loves the big stage that is Headingley, does Martin Pearson, and he's enjoying his time out there at the moment too. Leeds aren't, they're trailing 6 points to 2. In possession though with Harris and Holroyd now, and this is Phil Hassan.
Seen very little from the talented centre. In a good battle with his opposition number John Schuster, who's done a good job on Hassan so far.
Tremendous scrambling defence though from this Halifax side. This now is Matthew. Marshall was there and second man in was Heighton. They're still not in the Halifax half of the field yet. This is Harris. And Harris looking for the runners. It was Graham Holroyd off the outside of the boot. Holroyd, that's great play from Holroyd. They've got a man out wide here. It's Sterling. Holroyd's going on his own. Holroyd,
he's bombed it.
Blown the try.
It's a knock on. Well, he threw the dummy. Why on earth didn't he elect to take the tackle? It was sensational work. The chip over the top. It's what we were screaming for in the first half. And the skills of Holroyd. He threw Yamanga the wrong way, but full credit, they got back to him. Tremendous work by David Bouvang. But I'm afraid Graham Holroyd, after all that good work, has just blown it instead of holding possession.
Well, he should really have passed it, because had he got rid of the football, I think a try was begging there for Leeds. Holroyd trying to do it all himself against his hometown club. Comes from Halifax.
It was a 3-on-1 situation.
He was looking for the headlines, wasn't he, Graham Holroyd?
It was a nice dummy, but it gave them just the split second to get back. And good work by the winger, though, David Bouvang, to come back and help the fullback Yamanga.
Here's Dio Powell, try scorer. Can't get away from Andy Hay. And Jamie Field was in there quickly too. Moana dummy half to Michael Jackson. Face to face with Gary Mercer. Matthew all over him as well. Danny Seal to Moana. Moana just hacks the ball out. But it bounced in the field of play. That will be the scrum. Head and feet to Leeds.
Well, he got away with it, didn't he? Here's a little wry smile as if to say, well, I know I'm not the kicker, but I was left with very little else to do.
Powell was injured in a tackle earlier, and that means that Asa Amon comes on, the Tongan international. And by the looks of things, Amon will operate on the wing, and David Bouvang will go into his more favoured centre position. There he is, number 19, just running up the side of your screen. Bradford have hit the front against Castleford, 14-6. That's a penalty now to Halifax. Salford ahead, 24-16 in Paris.
Well, it looks like it's deemed, the referee Steve Presley, that it was a forward pass. But I must agree with you, Eddie, it was a forward pass there. That it appeared as though the official was actually giving a penalty. He was actually pointing towards Halifax that the ball had gone forward.
I thought it was a dodgy play the ball, but obviously not. This is Amon, first touch for him for Halifax. Another score coming in, and it's a final score at Charlotte. Salford have won 24-16. And elsewhere, Sheffield 8, St Helens 12. Quarter an hour of the second half gone. So it's pretty tight at Don Valley. But Steve O'Paris, last year they couldn't win away and were winning, well, not regularly, but fairly regularly at home. Now they can't win at home, save for the match in the World Club.
It's amazing, though. But full credit to Salford. It's not easy to win over there.
This is Moana. Not easy to win here at Headingley either, but Bradford did on Sunday, and at the moment Halifax are leading now, and a kick cross field from Dean. This could be interesting. Tuilangi's got it, and Tuilangi scores. Marvin Golden was beaten for height in the air. The referee has noticed, though, that his touch judges stood on the corner flag like a sentry, and I think he's asking whether Tuilangi was offside.
We've got to find out. He'll go for the screen. Well, what a game this substitute, Craig Dean, is having. There's a bump. Now then, did Tuilangi take Golden out? Little doubt about getting the ball down. That's fine. But let's see the high shot.
Well, maybe that's not the query. Maybe it's just a query whether he actually got the ball on the line, over the line, or grounded it the wrong side. If it is, this is a try, and it is. Tries given for Tuilangi. He was obviously onside. There wasn't a doubt about that. It was just whether he grounded the ball in the field of play, on the line, or correctly behind the try line. And he has.
Beautiful kick, though, by Craig Dean. Hoists it right over. Golden was there. He looked to be okay on the high shot, and he just jumped higher, did Tuilangi. Well, what a turnaround. The little halfback shows the little dummy, and the big fella comes in. There was no protection for the winger Marvin Golden, and the Blue Sox, they come up. Tuilangi, his big frame just pushed Golden out of the way.
Tuilangi with the try then, and Schuster now has the opportunity to add the extras to that try. Easy for a kicker of Schuster's quality. Leeds 2, Halifax 12, and the Blue Sox, wearing the black socks tonight, are ahead.
There you see Dean, and there you see Tuilangi. He's well onside. It was a beautifully weighted kick. And all the referee Steve Presley wanted to sort out was whether he'd grounded it correctly, and that was A-OK.
So, Leeds now really do have it all to do. A 10-point gap to make up. And after weathering the early storm from Leeds in this match, Halifax have grown in confidence.
He lost that football interference, though. And you'll find that it's Danny Seal, the hooker. Just a little touch of that football. Farrell try to get up. There you see it, just interfering. When you've done the tackle, the rule states you must roll away, not make any attempt to touch the man, and you could see that Danny Seal was definitely touching the player, which was Farrell trying to play that football. But what a workload that guy's done tonight.
Well, Leeds have lost 3 in a row before tonight, but they are happy for all of that to be in contention for a place in the top 4. But how things might change at the end of this evening if Halifax hang on for this win. It's not one of Halifax's happiest hunting grounds, this. Kick over the top, though, is easy for Asa Amon. Good strong run from Amon as well. Would you believe that Halifax won here last year 32-18, but it was only their 4th win at Headingley in 24 years. Incredible. And it looks like here they're on their way to a second successive victory at 12 points to 2 with 10.5 minutes of this second half gone.
Well, before the kickoff, we interviewed the skipper Carl Harrison, and he said it only takes 1 win to lift your spirits, and he was hoping that this was going to be it. Great break.
What a run from Moana. Matthew chased him back and managed to get there in time. Boubeng, the dummy half, to Dean, and Dean then on to Pearson. Pearson to Heighton. Heighton out wide, it goes to Schuster. Through the hands again to Tuilangi. Great strength from Tuilangi, and this now is Michael Jackson. Jackson bounces off 1, bounces off 2, but he can't get away from Farrell, the 3rd man in. And Dean Bell with a furrowed brow, and so he might have. His Leeds team are under pressure here. Umanga, back to Moana. Hole opens up for Moana. Support arrives from Boubeng. Boubeng's taking on Holroyd, and Boubeng scores a quite brilliant try. Absolutely magnificent try from Halifax. He took on Graham Holroyd for speed, and John Pendlebury shows no emotion, but inside he must be cheering louder than anyone here. Halifax with their 3rd try of the match, and what a beauty.
He's had a fine try, but look at this run here. The big fella, he takes some stopping, doesn't he? Moana's a hard man to catch down, and from it they get the ball out wide, they keep it alive. Adventure again from the fullback Mike Umanga, back on the inside. Look at the handoff there on Damien Gibson. And Holroyd, who's playing fullback, just doesn't have the speed. David Boubeng. But look at this. That is all strength from the South Sea Islander. Absolutely superb there from Moana. And look at this guy go. Good balance. He knows he's got Holroyd beaten. What a tremendously worked try. Down it goes. The Blue Sox, they're kicking on.
Terrific try from David Boubeng, now playing in the centre. He started the last 10 there, back on the wing, but he didn't look too happy early on out on the wing. And he looks pretty happy now, coming in with that terrific try for the Blue Sox. So Schuster. Schuster does not miss those. Halifax have increased the lead. Leeds 2, Halifax Blue Sox 18. Shock on the cards.
See how he comes back on the inside, and the Leeds defence failed to fill in. The gap gets wider. They got to him, but it was a handoff, and bang! Off he went. Switches of play. Beautiful finish.
And 2 tries in 5 minutes for Halifax that have pushed them ahead by 16 points now, 18-2. And the way they've tackled all night, Halifax look in no mood to surrender this lead. Remember, though, against the Bradford Bulls, they did surrender a big lead. Bradford were allowed to come back and snatch the game. Can Leeds do the same here at Headingley?
Well, I'm sure that the coach Pendlebury will be getting that message out. Oh, that was a big hit by Harrison. Well, there's a smile on the face of Wayne Collins. And I think perhaps he caught the arm first. Slow motion will show, but he finished off definitely in the nose of Wayne Collins. But the first impact perhaps on the arm. Now, is it going to be reported or put on report?
No.
Or is it just a caution?
Just a ticking off, and Carl Harrison has pointed to the big screen and said to Steve Presley, have a look at the big screen. There was nothing wrong with the tackle. Steve Presley can't do that. No. He's got to take the report from his touch judge, and that he's done, and now he's ticking him off.
That's right. Eddie is perfectly correct. The many whistleblowers cannot look at the large screen.
Michael Jackson in the blood bin, so Simon Baldwin comes in, and this is Matthew now.
Well, it's a desperate time now for the Blue Sox.
It's a desperate time for Leeds as well. They need a try here.
They've got to try to keep their defence solid. Now, Leeds have got to start being a lot more adventurous.
Sheridan and Andy Hay on the run.
Well, at least they're running the angles, which is a start.
Mercer from dummy half. Mercer and trying to burrow his way over the line. Baldwin and Moana there to hold him out. Great pressure here, though, again on this Halifax defence. Sheridan goes for the gap, quickly closed by Pearson and Paul Heighton. It's the last tackle then for Leeds. They're right under the sticks. Harris tried to kick the ball through. It bounced off the legs of Moana, and Moana drops on it gratefully. And you have to give a gold medal to this Halifax defence.
Well, they've scrambled all night. Not the best kick through. The option perhaps was okay. Harris thought that there was a bit of a way through, but the legs of Moana came to the rescue. And the Halifax forwards now will just drive it out. They know that they've got to roll up the sleeves, do all the hard work. They really have laid the foundation of this Halifax 6. The pack have led the way.
And so is this fella, Carl Harrison, the captain. Penalty, interfered with as he tried to get to his feet and play the ball. He did play the ball properly, but Mercer was all over him. Look.
Well, he tried to do the leapfrog, didn't he? When the rule states, at the risk of saying it again, you must roll away after the tackle has been made.
I thought you were going to say that at the risk of boring everybody, which of course you never do. This now is a moan. Newton on for Jamie Field and Matthew with the tackle. Harrison will drive it in again. Chance now for Halifax to have a crack at this defense. Dean, a lovely run. Beautiful ball back to Moana. Moana's through again. And desperate defence now from Mercer.
Beautiful crisscross move there. That was well worked.
They're cutting. Dean just couldn't take the pass in. It was round his ankles, to be fair to him. All right, he's not the biggest.
No, it wasn't the best pass. It was always dipping down. Well, what a poor end to a great build-up. The crisscross move. Well, we said over the past few weeks when the English clubs have been playing the teams from down under that a lot of the teams seem to just forget about those set pattern moves, but it's nice to see them coming back into the game so quickly. That was excellent stuff from the Blue Sox.
This is Mercer from the base of the scrum. And it's not over at Odsal, not by a long chalk. Just one converted try in it. Bradford 20, Castleford 14. But the league leaders being given a right fright. And the champions likewise at Don Valley, 12-8. Remember, Salford have won in Paris. Meanwhile, penalty to Leeds. Harrison walks away, shaking his head. Leeds get on with it quickly. Harris gives it to Gibson. Gibson cuts inside Boubeng. Over the chest, a great roar from the crowd. They wanted a high tackle, but that was the earlier incident.
Well, it looked like a swinging arm for Harrison.
That was the one that was penalised.
Yeah.
That's why Leeds are in this position with Sheridan. And again, for 3 tackles anyway, the Halifax defence has stood. Harris, long ball, Holroyd. Back on the inside comes Mercer. Over the top it goes to Holroyd again. This is Marvin Golden who gets away from Pearson. Can't get away from the next man in though. It was the hooker Seal again. Now Harris. Harris shows it to Sheridan and Sheridan goes without the ball. But the ball went backwards, so play on. Hassan.
Tremendous scrambling of defence again from this Halifax side. Leeds are keeping it alive.
Kick for the corner, looking for Marvin Golden. Golden didn't come up with it. Tuilangi did. That was Golden against Tuilangi again. It's 2-0 to Tuilangi.
What a tremendous take there, and scrambles back into the field of play. Well, Golden must be wondering what on earth he's got to do to get this football from the kicks.
Umanga drives it out from his own line. Seal. Little Craig Dean again, surrounded. Oh, and drilled into the ground almost. Here's Baldwin.
Roll away from him. Come on.
Terry Newton, number 21, on and leading the way in the tackling at the moment. Oh, big hit by Andy Hay on Richard Marshall. How did Richard Marshall's head stay on? Pearson just kicks downfield to get out of trouble, and how about that for another great kick from Pearson. Sterling will run the ball back because this is the 0 tackle.
Quick thinking there by the winger, but another great kick from Martin Pearson. He's steadied the ship down for Halifax. When they've needed to get out of trouble, it's been the huge kick downfield that he has produced.
Yes, Martin Pearson's had a fine match. Collins from dummy half. On the halfway line is grounded by Marshall. Gary Mercer's the dummy half. This now is Matthew.
Well, we're midway through this second half and Leeds still trying to go down the middle. They've got to keep this ball alive.
We need your votes now for man of the match. 0891 66 55 25. You could win that mini TV set, as could the man of the match. Let's have your nominations from here on in. Harris shows it one way, then goes the other, gives it to Hassan. He's taking on Tuilangi. Tremendous tackle, and he slides Hassan into touch and comes up with the biggest smile of the night.
Well, they love playing any sport, don't they? But that was tremendous effort. They really do enjoy it down there. You see how he offered him the outside. Come on, see how fast you are. You're not fast enough. Great effort.
Tuilangi, Western Samoan. Head and feed to his club at the scrum. Paul Sterling, the try machine has gone off, and Leroy Rivette comes on to try and rescue this game for Dean Bell and Leeds. The Blue Sox ahead 18 points to 2. Umanga, another strong run from Mike Umanga, another former Western Samoan rugby union star.
Well, he's so big, isn't he? He's like an extra forward, and when he runs it out from their own quarter line, he really takes the pressure off the Halifax 6 that have worked tigerishly throughout this game. And I must take my hat off to the hooker, Danny Seal. What an effort he's put in tonight. I'd love to see how many tackles he's done.
Harrison complaining the ball was stolen from him as he tried to release that pass. He was releasing the pass. Mercer gets the ball away to Rivette. And Rivette, an exciting player. Danny Seal, what an effort from the hooker. 24 tackles made. Harris now up the middle.
Make that
and
25.
Danny Seal another. Collins to Ryan Sheridan, to Holroyd. Holroyd back to Sheridan again. Leeds running flat. Mercer, Farrell, looking for a way through this defence.
Well, they're doing all the switching, but no one's running forward. He is now.
Terry Newton will score over the post. Terry Newton's try is his first for Leeds, never mind in Super League 97, his first in the senior team for the men from Headingley, and how nicely timed by Terry Newton.
It could not have come at a better time, but you'll see that he'll run onto the football. Back on the inside, they kept it going on 4 or 5 occasions. Mercer back again, but they stood still, and then when they get the ball away, watch him run onto the football. He was actually at full pace before he got to that football, and that's the reason why he got the half break. Good work though from Farrell, good strength to keep it alive. Harris offload, and the first man that actually runs forward onto the football comes up with the 4 points.
Newton's try, and Iestyn Harris from bang in front added the extra 2. The gap now is down to 10 points, 18 points to 8, and plenty of time here for Leeds to come back. They restart with Graham Holroyd, deep kick. Underneath it, Umanga hardly put a foot wrong tonight. Now Moana will drive the ball back.
Well, there's plenty of time left for Leeds to snatch a win here, and it would be important that Halifax do not close up shop.
Well,
I don't think 10 points will be sufficient.
Oh, the ball's popped out. Leeds have got it back. Remember, Halifax were 26-6 up against Bradford Bulls at half-time when we last saw them on Sky Sports, and they went on to lose that match 30 points to 26. They must be hoping lightning surely won't strike them twice, but with a quarter of an hour to go, anything's possible, and Mercer's suddenly running with venom.
Good effort by the skipper there. Could see they were slow in the defence.
Here's Sheridan. Back it comes to Hassan. Hassan running flat. Again, the defence stands firm. Collins back to Farrell. Farrell flicks it out the back to Mercer. Mercer then to Hay. He was picked out by Schuster. Schuster couldn't stop him though, getting the ball away to Marvin Golden. And these are desperate moments for this Halifax defence now. Leeds being roared on by their supporters. Harris going on his own, and Harris gets there. What a dramatic turnaround at Headingley. The game looked over for Leeds, and suddenly 2 tries in just 3 minutes have turned the course of this match. Iestyn Harris with the try this time.
At long last, Leeds have realised if you keep the ball alive, the defence will be stretched out wide. And one of the few occasions that Harris has thrown the dummy and gone through the gap. But it was a run from Marvin Golden earlier to this that put them in a great position for Harris to score a vital try. This is the run. This was what made it go and stretch the defence, keeping it alive. It was scrambling all the way through. They just couldn't stop him. It was a wonderful effort from Umanga, but not strong enough for this kid. What a time to come up with 4. We're in for a thriller.
I think we are. Iestyn Harris, having scored the try, now has this kick to drag his team back. It's 18-12. This will make it 18-14. It stays at 18-12. He misses. But it's a converted try, that's all between these two. Iestyn Harris's try has given Leeds some hope, and a match that looked like it was petering out to Halifax victory has suddenly turned.
Well, full credit to Leeds. They could have thrown the towel in. They were looking in despair, but that they have just got a hold of themselves, started to keep this ball alive. They kept it alive on that occasion. 9 players were involved in the build-up to that try.
Carl Harrison is being replaced. John Pendlebury has made a double substitution here at Headingley to try and shore up his defence for the last 13 minutes. It has been a great effort from them, but are things suddenly going to turn sour? 18-2 at one stage, now 18-12, and all to play for the men in blue.
This is where the forwards have to cart it up, try to get to the halfway line. So the big kick from Martin Pearson, which was seen all the way throughout this game, has got them valuable metres forward.
Here the changes. Simon Baldwin returns along with Damien Munro. This is Paul Heighton.
Well, they've got over the halfway line. This is where Pearson needs a big one. Here it comes.
Pearson booms the kick downfield. Rivette was there. Now, did Rivette get a touch on that? Halifax think so, because they're in to try and keep him down near his own line, and they've succeeded. Boubeng and Munro very quick. Here's Holroyd.
But again, we see the quality of Martin Pearson's kick. That really was a fine 65-metre gain. The big tackle there from Asa Amon.
This is Golden. And Amon again in quickly. Collins at dummy half. Anthony Farrell. Up the middle goes Farrell. He tried to release the ball. That was suicide. This is Dean. Craig Dean just hauled down by Newton. Quick play the ball here, and Leeds are stretched. It's with Baldwin.
But why on earth did Leeds try to keep the ball alive in their own quarter?
Umanga's the dummy half. Finds Moana, who will go. Moana turns, but is all wrapped up by Holroyd. Here's Danny Seal at dummy half. He spins the ball into the arms of Dean again. Now Pearson. And Pearson is met by a great challenge from Farrell. Leeds defence turn now to show their colours. Heighton. That's the last one.
Surely the little grubber kick on the ground.
Dean. He's gone to the air. He's coming out wide looking for Munro. It bounces off the head of Munro. Oh, Baldwin hit that into the legs of Munro. Baldwin's touchdown.
Now then, is it a knock-on? This will be interesting. It was going all over the place.
Touch judge was there. The ball was going all over the place. Then the hack forward hit Munro and bounced back.
I suspect
Baldwin touched it down.
I suspect that Munro may have just got a knock-on to this. There, it comes off the head, so that's okay up to this point. Now then, was that accidental knock-on? It was a kick. It definitely hit the hand. This is okay up to this point. Rivet doesn't know what's happening. Now then, do we class it as an accidental knock-on? But Baldwin did the right thing. Kick, accidental, didn't make any play for it for mine, so that will be classed as a charge down in effect, because it kicks there from Gibson, the fullback, so therefore it's a charge down, therefore it's A-OK, and it's a try for mine.
Well, let's see. It's not for the video ref. Baldwin thought that he'd got a vital 4 points to win the match, in effect. Steve-O did as well, but the video ref viewed it just a tad differently.
Well, there's little doubt he got fingertip to it. I suppose it's classifying what is a charge down. Maybe it wasn't a deliberate attempt. So, good job the officials know the right rules. We can only just hope at times, Eddie.
10 minutes to go. It remains 6 points, the difference. And if it's deliberately played at by the player, then it would have been classed as a charge down. As it is, it must have been classed as a knock-on, so no try.
Oh, well, it's in this area now where Leeds have to be more adventurous, but not perhaps in your own quarter or your own half. Let's get over the halfway line before. Now it's a big kick needed.
Bradford look like they're maintaining this wonderful start they've had. And Sheffield have come back against St Helens, the champions trailing at Don Valley.
Oh, dearie me, that was dangerous by full-back Umanga.
Oh, he's lost it. Tuilangi's dropped it.
It'll be a knock-on. They'll play the scrum. What on earth was full-back Mike Umanga thinking when he gave it to Tuilangi? Well, who'd be a coach in situations like this when it really should have been up the jumper time by the fullback Mike Umanga, who had all the time in the world. Now they've got pressure.
They have, because it's with Harris and now with Holroyd, who's got away from 2 and got away from 3 and got away from 4. Waits for Farrell. Farrell arrives, takes it back the other way. Into the arms then of Golden. Still Golden. eventually they get to him in the shape of Michael Jackson. Where's your man of the match? Vote now. 0891 66 55 25. Harris showed it to Farrell. They went for the dummy. This is Mercer. Mercer to Collins. Collins to Matthew.
Keep it alive. Keep it alive. That's the secret. The scrambling defence. It'll have to give in eventually.
Just 2 tackles gone. Harris tried to get the ball away.
On the second tackle.
An impossible situation too.
If it had been the last, you could understand it, but it wasn't. He was going down for the third tackle and try something totally impossible. And who was the guy tackling? Danny Seal. Now Jackson's lost him.
He has. And this is Gibson. Umanga comes in with a timely tackle. Here's Newton. Well, it all happens at Headingley. He gets the ball away to Ribet. A really thrilling end to this match now. 7 minutes left. 6 points the difference. Sheridan going on his own and so close.
Umanga again. What a tremendous effort from the fullback.
Here's Harris. Out wide it goes to Holroyd. Holroyd gets the try. There was a 2-man overlap out wide, and Holroyd took the gamble and went for it himself. And against his hometown club, Graham Holroyd, Halifax born, gives Leeds hope for at least a point and maybe more.
Full credit to Terry Newton keeping this ball alive that allowed them the opportunity, but I thought that Holroyd perhaps had bobbed it. Harris puts it short, gets it out wide, keeping the ball alive. Holroyd through the dummy. You could see the 2 men out wide. This is a run from Sheridan, one of the very few of the night, but what a great tackle again from Mike Umanga, who's been superb tonight. The dummy runner created it, was left out wide all on his own.
Well, this is an important kick for Iestyn Harris. They've scored Leeds 3 tries in 10 minutes, and if he kicks this, Leeds are level. The roar will tell you that Harris has come up with a couple of points that puts Leeds back at 18 points apiece.
See how the defence is sucked in. The wing is all on his own. Overlap time. He took the dummy. Tuilangi, far too late. Well, he was a villain when he threw the dummy and bombed the try early in this second half. It's locked at 18 all. And it came from a mistake from Michael Jackson that Leeds got possession. Will it be another mistake that turns this game?
Well, Graham Holroyd with that try has gone through 900 points for Leeds, and an absolutely vital try that could so easily form the basis now of Leeds going on to win this match. That's last tackle. They're in no shape for a drop goal attempt, so Dean's kick is fielded by Holroyd.
Not the best either. Straight into the arms of Holroyd.
And he's the hero of the hour now. Every time Holroyd receives the ball, Leeds fans roar him on. 4.5 minutes to go. Here's Harris.
Well, both sides will be looking to try to get into a position to be able to utilise the drop goal. 1 point is just as good as 100.
And Martin Pearson's in the blood bin, and Carl Harrison returns. Well, Martin Pearson is a man who maybe could conjure up an odd drop goal or two. They've also got John Schuster out there, but they've now got the tackling machine back. Carl Harrison, just ask Gary Mercer.
Well, it was a vital time to see Martin Pearson go off the field because he was the man doing the big kicks into the corner. It was Dean that kicked that one, and he went straight down the throat of Holroyd.
Great run.
That gave Leeds a chance to get into a good position.
Here's Harris. He's going to fire a one-pointer over if he can. Harris goes for it and just pushes the kick wide. It was worth the gamble, and he had so much time.
Well, he went early in the tackle count there, didn't he? Oh, the look says it all.
Danny Seal takes that tackle. Iestyn Harris was about 3 meters away then from giving Leeds a victory. 18-2 Halifax, remember. Leeds right back in it now with 3¼ minutes to go at 18all, and they have the sniff of victory suddenly, the Rhinos. Harrison.
That one must have been pretty close to a forward pass there, but you cannot fault the Leeds fight back. They talk about often not having the spirit. Oh, Dean tried it. It's play on. And he's got it back. Newton. Oh, that'll be a penalty.
It is.
What on earth has Newton done? It's within kicking range, and with a man like John Schuster around the place, Harrison will say, give us the 2. He just lost the plot completely. Did the substitution, Terry Newton. Oh, dearie me. Dean tried to keep the ball alive to Baldwin, and there you see Newton got it. And Moana left away from it. And because he left away with it, they caught the ball. Baldwin jumped on it. But you could see that Martin Moana slipped away and didn't have a hand on the player. So therefore, it was 1-on-1, and they came up with a football. Newton lost his marbles.
And so John Schuster, the point-scoring machine for Halifax, 3 from 4 tonight. He had a kick at the weekend from the touchline to give Halifax a draw. Now he's got this kick with just 2¼ minutes to go that could win the match. The Leeds fans doing their best to put him off, as is Ronnie the Rhino, but Schuster is a kicker of some quality. Now, has he got the bottle? Can he rise to the occasion? No, he can't. He just pushed it wide of the post. Dean Bell breathed a sigh of relief. That could only have been centimetres away from finding the mark. It stays at 18all. But at least Halifax get the ball back from the 20-metre dropout. And Umanga will surely run the ball back.
Well, he won't pass it, not after the last incident. Well, you could see on the face there of John Pendlebury, the tension, it's mounting. This is where they've got to roll forward and go for the 1 point.
This is Jackson. He will trundle forward.
Good defence there, though.
Little knock-on, was it? Touch judge said no.
I don't know.
Came off the foot.
He came off the foot, but I don't know whether he played it correctly.
Schuster. 1 point attempt from Schuster. He misses. Under so much pressure, Schuster. Well, are we in for a draw here at Headingley? We're entering the last minute of the match. It's the last hurrah coming up for Leeds.
Not the best effort from Schuster. The crowd are going absolutely crackers underneath us here.
Mercer dinks the ball over the top. Bounces perfectly for him. Great run. Support from Sterling. Sterling's taking on Dean. Sterling for the corner. Just hauled down. What a finish to this match. Sterling plays the ball. And Dean Bell asking how long to go. Sterling again for the corner. Held out. And not forced out of the field of play. 20 seconds to go. Collins gets it back to Sheridan. To Harris, who loses it.
Was he offside?
No, the referee has pulled them back here for offside in the corner. This is going to be a kick.
They'll go for it. Harris has to go, surely. Or will it be Holroyd? Who's going to take the pressure? Surely they're not thinking of going to try to tap it. They've got to go for the 2 points. They've got to come back over the whitewash, and they failed to do that. In the field of play, it's 10 metres. But when it's so close to the goal line, you have to stand over it. They failed to do that. Well, Schuster had the chance. Now, Leeds have the chance.
Schuster knows he missed with a shot from bang in front. Dean Bell is near the dressing rooms, waiting for the final siren. Whatever happens, this will be the last of it. It's Graham Holroyd. Holroyd with the left foot. And Holroyd has won the match for Leeds. Unbelievable at Headingley. Halifax have tossed away an 18-2 advantage. and they've lost the match with the very last kick from Graham Holroyd by 20 points to 18. Well, Halifax must feel, and John Pendlebury must feel, like the fates have deserted them, but Graham Holroyd, he kept his nerve.
Well, the Halifax defence didn't, and you could see that they were well offside. They just wanted to put the pressure on anyone trying a field goal, but they gave away, in the end, the chance of the penalty. And Holroyd, the man with the nerves, has kicked Leeds to a most remarkable victory.
He got the try as well. With 7 minutes to go, Harris converted it to make it 18-all. And then in the very last minute, with the very last kick of the match, Graham Holroyd against Halifax, his hometown club, kept his nerve and came up with a win that Leeds now are celebrating. Well, a quite dramatic second half here at Headingley. Super League, it comes up with entertainment all the way through, and Leeds and Halifax, congratulations on a great game, and congratulations